Well, welcome back. We're continuing on right where we left off, and Elder Scrolls Online with the main quest.
Someday you'll make something surprising with that.
Go to the go to the harborage. All right. Hey, Cadwell. Looking handsome as ever.
They're having an important meeting and asked if I'd give them some privacy. I mean, do you believe it? Where's the trust? Pop on out to the rubbish tip, Cadwell. There's a good lad. Do I mind? Oh, I have no mind. I'm the village bloody idiot.
Oh, Cadwell, don't let anyone ever put you down.
Welcome back, Vestige. News of Manimarco's demise spreads far and wide. Like worms, his followers burrow deep into the earth to escape the searing light of the coming dawn.
So why have you summoned me?
As ever, straight to the point. You've done the impossible. The King of Worms has been consumed by the wrath of Molag Bal. The power of his worm cult is broken forever.
Molag Bal is still a threat, and I haven't found my soul.
That is the grim truth of the matter. But the Amulet of Kings is in our possession, and there is still much to do.
How can we be sure that Manimarco is truly gone?
In my sleep, I hear his tormented screams, and Molag Bal forces visions of his eternal torture into my mind. I can show you exactly what I see, if you wish it.
Sure, show me these visions.
Behold the fate of the King of Worms.
Please, no more! It was a misunderstanding, Great One! Let me serve you! Let me prove my loyalty! No more, I beg of you!
Manimarco's torment will be endless. The god of schemes will use him to set an example. All who follow him will know you cannot hope to betray the greatest of betrayers. I cannot help but pity him, despite all he has done. But this is not why you were called here, Vestige. Come, Saizahar will speak with you first.
The greatest of the Sword Saints, Divad, tells us that destiny's a chain, forged one link at a time. Our chain is nearly complete. There is but one link remaining.
What is this link?
It is you, my friend. You are the link. I will not bore you with effusive praise, but state it plainly. You are a great warrior and a trusted friend. And we would like to extend you an offer.
What offer?
When Emperor Varen first brought the 5 companions together, he did so in the hope of creating a Tamriel where all men could live freely and safely beneath one banner.
Go on.
The 5 companions failed, betrayed from within by one of our own, the Worm King Manimarco. All that came after was the result of one man's treachery. Now 4 of the 5 are reunited to right that great wrong, but destiny requires a 5th.
I see where this is going. What are we suggesting?
We want you to join us as our 5th member. You were the champion we should have had with us back then. Don't look so grave. This is largely symbolic, but please, humor an old soldier.
So if I said the 5 companions fail, let's not risk repeating history. I wonder what would happen. I know my first playthrough I did not say that, but I'm gonna stick with my gut and say, I am honored to join you as the last member of the 5 companions.
My lord, with your permission.
You needn't call me that anymore, Saizahar. We are equals.
All those years ago, when we fought beneath our lord's banner to free the Empire from the Longhouse Emperors, we did so with a dream of freedom and peace in mind. Not just for the Empire, but for all of Tamriel. Together, we forged a fellowship stronger than any blade, only to see it shattered upon the rocks of deceit by one of our own. That fellowship is no more. Yet we 4 have assembled here, united by a single purpose. It is not vengeance that drives us, but truth and loyalty and justice. I, Sai Sahan, steward of the Abbey of Blades, call for the 5 companions to be reforged this day by the light of Stendarr and the heart of Lorcan. May our blade of fellowship be forged anew, and may the vestige, our mutual friend and ally, become its tip, that we may thrust it straight into the heart of a Daedric prince.
Sai Sahan is right. You are the member that we should have had all those years ago.
It is as the scrolls foretold. The soulless one will become the brightest of 5 stars, and they shall guide us to the coming dawn.
Oh, please, you melodramatic sots. Fine, fine. If seeing one of your foolish prophecies come true will help to ensure the safety of the Empire,
Stand
I'll play
united
along.
once more. The 5 companions are reforged, and together we will strike down the God of Schemes.
Come here, my friend. I've got a few things I want to say before you go.
I love that Sai-Sahan just talked over that. He was just like, yeah, not saying anything important.
It's been a long road, hasn't it? My father used to say that if you avoid all of life's abrasions, you'll never be polished enough to shine. We must be pretty damn shiny by now.
He was a wise man, your father.
I've been thinking about our adventures and the hardships we've faced together. We're in the last leg of this journey, aren't we? I don't regret any of it, but it occurs to me that we haven't had much of a chance to talk as friends.
We may not get another chance. What did you want to talk about?
Where do you see yourself going after all of this is over? I mean, assuming we survive, get your soul back, and stop Molag Bal.
There's a whole world to explore. I want to see what's out there.
Traveling is a humbling experience. You see firsthand what a small place you occupy in the world. Funny thing is, the farther you go, the harder it is to return. But when you do, if you do, you get to see the place you came from with new eyes.
What about you?
Me? I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to Skyrim and settle down. Squeeze out a few whelps. Maybe raise sheep or grow cabbages.
Are you serious?
What? No. Can you imagine it? Lyra's Titanborn, shepherd, farmer, housewife. I need to be out in the wind and wild. And if I ever find my life mate, he'll feel the same way. My turn. What's your one regret about all we've been through?
The deaths of so many people.
You never get used to it. My father, he'll die over and over again for the rest of my life. Grief doesn't go away. You just learn to live with it. But I can live my life with his daring and spirit and joy. That way he'll never die. Not really.
What about you?
Oh, lots of things. Friends lost, missed opportunities, failed endeavors. Maybe the best we can hope for is to end up with the right regrets. I do regret not taking the time to get to know the people I fought with. I hope to change that.
What else is on your mind?
One last thing. You like mead?
Sure.
I knew I liked you. So, let's toast. To Molag Bal, that ugly skeever. May his privates be infected with brown rot fever. May our course be true and our hearts be brave, as we march into Cold Harbor to spit on his grave.
I'll drink to that.
Let's not forget the struggles that got us to this point. We're almost home. We just have a bit further to fight.
Are you all insane? You do realize what we need to do, right? We have to fight a Daedric prince. Amulet or no, this is going to mean more death. Vestige, come here. I'll tell you what they're afraid to mention. Getting all chummy with Titanborn? I enjoy the company of clever, well-informed people. You really should try it sometime. So, you felled the great Manimarco. Well played. You've done the Empire a great service.
That's not why I did it, though.
The farmer doesn't thank the cow when it voids itself on the field, but it still makes the crops grow taller.
Not your way of thanking me, you jerk.
I suppose it is. But that wasn't the reason for this heartwarming reunion. Varen and I have spoken at length since you recovered the amulet, and have determined our final course of action. Molag Bal remains a threat, and Tamriel is still in grave danger.
What did you have in mind?
First, the plane meld must be stopped. Even now, forces gather and plan an assault on Oblivion itself. You must join them.
What now?
Then, and only then, can you take the fight to Molag Bal himself, to restore protection to Nirn and reclaim your soul.
Is it even possible to defeat Molag Bal?
I know more about the Daedra than any man or mer alive. For good or ill, my family has always kept ties with the forces of Oblivion, and this much I know. One cannot kill a Daedric prince. But we have the Amulet of Kings.
Go on.
With the amulet in our possession, we may be able to wound him severely, and in the process force him to relinquish every last soul he has stolen, including your own. This is where your condition works to your benefit.
With the amulet in our possession, we may be able to wound him severely, and in the process force him to relinquish every last soul he has stolen, including your own. This is where your condition works to your benefit. How?
The ritual we performed with the Amulet of Kings caused the soul burst and damaged the veil between worlds. If the damage is to be repaired, I must attempt the ritual again, this time with you.
Want to just cause another soul burst?
Only if we use it here on Nirn. But if we were to travel to Cold Harbor, we might be able to harness its power, imbue you with divine agency enough to challenge the Daedric Prince. But there is a price.
There always is.
Calling upon the power of the amulet in this manner will consume someone's soul, utterly. One cannot channel the power of the gods without paying such a price. Unfortunately, you don't have a soul to consume, and I am needed to perform the ritual.
Someone has to die?
More specifically, one of our 3 companions. I suspect that's why they're so nauseatingly over-appreciative and fawning.
No, the price is too high.
Of course it is. The fact of the matter stands, however. One of the 5 will need to give their life to fuel this attack, when the time comes.
So you said before the vestige arrived. And I've already thought it over. I'll do it.
Snow Lily, no. You should not need to give your life this way. This is my duty. Penance for my numerous failures. This is my chance to make things right.
The scroll said nothing of this moment, and so I am not bound to their dictates. Vestige, I ask that you let me do this one thing. All that has happened was because of my hubris. I shall be the one.
Sire, you've done enough. This was Manimarco's doing, not yours.
As the one who will fight the Daedric Prince, the Vestige should decide.
I don't see you leaping to volunteer, Tharn. Saving your own backside again?
Hard as it may be, Lyris, don't be an idiot. I'm the only one who knows the ritual, and we don't have time to teach anyone else.
That's enough. It won't be decided here and now. Vestige, come here. I have some final words for you. It appears we have come full circle, Vestige.
Does one of you truly have to die?
That millions of others may live, yes. Do not be troubled. Any one of us would gladly make such a sacrifice.
But first the plane mold must be stopped.
As Tharn has said, there are already plans in motion to infiltrate Cold Harbor. You must be part of them. The chains that anchor us to oblivion draw us ever closer. They must be severed once and for all.
I'll find a way.
When the plane meld has been thwarted and the dust has settled, the 5 companions will gather one last time to face our destinies. The god of schemes must be stopped, Vestige. That is the only thing that matters now.
Chronicles 5, Companions 8, Abner Tharn, once again. If I had a drake for... Go away. If I had a drake for every petty king or would-be emperor that wanted to get their filthy mittens on the Amulet of Kings, I could purchase Aquavir right out from under the scaly feet of those detestable snake people. The amulet's loss after the fall of the Remain Destiny, in the dawning of the Second Era, centuries before my birth, was considered the greatest catastrophe of its time. Without a duly ordained emperor sitting on the ruby throne, many prophesied the doom of the world. But like many such prognostications from provincial soothsayers, their predictions did not come to pass. Not yet. Without the Amulet of Kings, Tamriel endured just as it did when the divinely chosen wore it around their necks. The sun rose, people killed each other over greed and petty ambitions. Powerful men dictated the fates of those beneath their stations, and they all woke up the next day to do it all again. I'm not hopeful about our chances against the Daedric Prince. It is the most ridiculous of follies to believe that, even if the spell works, one might actually challenge such a powerful entity and emerge victorious. The Vestige is a formidable warrior, but still flawed. In truth, I'd rather send Titanborn on this fool's errand and save the Vestige for when we are better prepared. She, at least, is expendable. Ouch, Titanborn. I realize just how foolish such a sentiment is, and Titanborn, if you're reading this, try not to twist your ridiculous pigtails in a knot. I am a Tharn. Humility does not suit us. There can be no doubt. Our one chance is here and now. We take it or perish forever. Much of Tamriel has been spared the horrors of this engagement, and already the land recovers from the impact of the anchors and the places where they fell. Common peasantry would accept this as a providence and laud the efforts of those who ended the Daedric melding of worlds, but their ignorance is bliss. My knowledge of the Daedra affords me a terrible glimpse into the nightmare world that awaits us, should we not wholly dislodge Molag Bal's grasp on this world. Consider, reader, Tamriel is a ripe apple, dangling precariously from the flowering branches of a great tree. For eons it has hung far above, well out of the reach of the hungry teeth, the Daedra, who would feast upon it. But the rending of the cosmic veil caused by the soul burst, Mana Marco's tainted coronation ritual, cracked the branch upon which our aforementioned apple grows. Picture then, as we continue our quaint agriculture metaphors, Molag Bal is the hog who grasps the nearest leaves of the stricken branch. His dung-stained trotters give him leverage as he pulls, hoping to tear the entire branch down so that he may feast upon the apple. The effort of those who stopped the plane meld and shattered Molag Bal's anchors staggered the footing of the hog, sweeping his legs out from underneath him. Nevertheless, his fetid teeth still dig into the branch. If he is allowed to recover, he will begin his struggle yet again. We must dislodge Molag Bal's teeth, as it were, through application of incredible force. Of course, we cannot use the amulet a second time in the same fashion as we did at the soul burst, but if I'm correct, and I always am, a modification of the spell will allow a mortal to become a vessel of the divines, and imbue him with the power of the amulet. The particulars of the magic itself could fill a book in and of itself, so I shall spare the reader the specifics, which are undoubtedly above the understanding of even learned scholars. It takes the formidable intellect of a Tharn, and there are none alive greater than I, to comprehend its complexities. If we succeed, history shall record that it was the knowledge and ambition of Abner Tharn that brought about the salvation of this world by guiding the hand of the Vestige. If we fail, then none will be wiser, for we shall all become the lifeless, mindless servants of the Daedric Prince until the end of time. Alright guys, well, I'll see you around. Oh, Mr. Cardwell. Boop.
Good find, cohort.
Guess we're gonna go to Shadowfen. I keep saying that, I feel like, every time, and I never make it there. I did travel there at the end of the previous episode just to unlock the waypoint. That seemed important. Alright.
Ah, good. I found you. Speak with me a moment, if you would.
Okay. Can you, I'm having a hard time talking to you because you were... Okay, there you go.
Greetings. I am Vanus Galarian, head of the Mages Guild. I have need of your assistance.
My assistance?
Yes. It's high time Tamriel was free of Molongbal's grip. The Anchors, the Daedra, the Undead. They devastate our fragile mortal plane. I have a plan, and I need your help. I think you're the only one who can help me see this done.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to meet with Thrush, leader of the Hidden Armigers. He'll be at the Mages Guild in Mournhold. Even Yoren's personal agents think my idea is sound. I'll be along shortly. I just have a few final preparations to make.
Okay, I'll see you there. But not right now. I finally made it to Shadowfen. I got stuff to do. I got a commitment. Such as talking to this guy.
They say the Hist sweeps with
We don't get a lot.
What nonsense. Everyone knows the Hist isn't a tree.
Oh, maybe it's a giant Argonian dung pile. Now who's the silly one?
You'd think the guards would have
Oh,
found
what have
something
they
by
done?
now.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. No more drinking. My head's splitting. My mouth feels like a cagoody nested in it.
What's she
And
doing
I'm in
right there?
serious trouble. I don't suppose you'd care to help out a down-on-her-luck chef, would you?
How can I help you?
Go back in time and cut out my tongue. No, then I wouldn't be able to taste my wonderful cooking. Last night, I made a terrible bet with a hunter friend of mine, Vinaza. I told him cooking was art and hunting was peasants' work. He took offense.
Tell me about this bet.
I boasted I'd hunt Shadowfen, collecting ingredients from exotic animals. An aelit's heart, a caguti's ribs, eggs of a giant wasp, and delicious mud crab claw meat. I'd meet him in Hismir and prepare a feast to prove it. But I can't hunt.
I'll hunt these creatures and I'll meet you in Hismir.
That's one of the problems. I know you can find these beasts all over Shadowfen, but I don't know where. And I'd get killed if I went roaming around the swamps. You'll have to ask Vinaza, but don't let him know I sent you.
How do I do that?
Just appeal to his vanity. The old lizard's pride got me into this. I don't see why it shouldn't get me out too. He's probably just outside the city hunting. That's what he does all the time. Thinks he's the greatest gamesman in Shadowfen.
By the way, what were the terms of your bet?
Don't ask. What I have to do if I lose, oh, it doesn't bear thinking upon. Just know that if I lose this bet, I'll have to stay drunk for the rest of my life to live down the shame.
The green singing.
Ah, scholarship. I can smell it from here.
The Bosmer spinner stood before the rising moons, a shadow fingering a belt of glittering shells. Heavy-bearded speak through me. Heavy-bearded, speak through me. Tell us of the time before time. Let the story grow in me. Let my heart echo to the pounding of your feet along the story lines. The bones of the world. I will walk your steps and know your story. The spinner's eyes flickered close, his fingertips slid along the belt, picking out the shape and orientation of the shells. He raised a foot and with deliberation stamped it on the ground. Speak through me, tell us the display of Mora, who beat out a pulse against the darkness, that gnawed old Elfnuffi? Mara, whose eyes glitter like hot coals, known of Mare and knowing Mare, mother of 1,000,000 children. She who looks at Arce's form and does not blush, but breathes deep in the scent of him. The spinner took thumping, methodical steps across the hilltop, eyes closed, hands tracing the patterns of shells wrapped around his chest. His voice shamed the night calls of nearby insects to silence. And others watching more reverently silent, eyes closed, swaying in time with the spinner's steps. His feet slowed, pounding deep footprints in the earth. He no longer spoke. He sighed. He whispered, "We are who we are," the taller tribe says, in a voice made of leaf shivers. "We taste the earth and feel your steps over us. We were the land of green, singing before the bones were set, before the before and after."
You're a new face in Stormhold. As Vice Canon tasked with today's duties of audience, it is my solemn duty to warn you of the killer loose in our fine city. Be on your way, travel in pairs, etc.
Gantha sent me to look into the murders.
Did he mention the finder's fee he receives for sending you into the swamp? Of course not. Since he didn't, I'll provide you with his fee directly. Hand it to him the next time you see him, or use it for a pair of watertight boots.
It was just 85 gold. It's not that big of a deal.
3 murders, and Stormhold's about to boil over like my father's fish kettle. The Dark Elves blame the Argonians they owned before the Pact outlawed slavery. I miss the days of kicking arse. Now I'm expected to kiss them.
Any leads on the culprit?
That's not a question I've heard from a stranger. Fancy yourself a bloodhound, do you? I'd never doubt Stormhold's guards in a siege, but we've seen no progress with these murders. We'll gladly pay a bounty if you find the killer.
Where should I start?
Here's a list of the victims' families. Find out what they know about their murdered kin. I'm almost glad the guard never got around to it. As my son says, mammoths can't dance.
I'd consider it done.
You'll likely find Dendris Indolor at home. Gethys Omabar works at the smithy. As for Tyrell Alor, try the Mages Guild. Hold your nose when talking to that one.
Why didn't the guard question them?
A while back, Argonians and Stormhold were slaves to the local Dark Elves. The 2 other Vice Canons work to mend the bad blood, but it's slow to get anything done when nobody trusts the guard.
Why would this keep the guard from doing their jobs?
Recently, some Argonians went missing. We heard a nasty rumor about Dark Elf slavers in the city. False, of course. Then the bodies showed up. All Dark Elves. The new rumor says Shadow Scales are targeting Dunmer. Nearly started a riot.
Who are the Shadow Scales?
They're a pain in the fundament. An armed group of Argonians lurking in the swamps, killing enemies of their people. If you want to twist the Dark Elf's ears anymore, you may as well burn an effigy of Almalek.
Okay.
They tell me you brought the Nords, Argonians, and Dunmer together to defeat Balrath.
It's over between us. I never want to see your shadow cross mine. If I could, your title, I don't care. And you can tell that pretty mistress of yours that I'm in the Fighters Guild. So she better watch her back. Uh-oh. The sharpest blade. Captain, here's a sample of some of the Master's most recent thoughts on war. As you know, his observations have inspired a generation of Dark Elf commanders. May they do the same for you. He wishes you most success in the Cyrodiil campaign. The greatest leader holds his most powerful spell in reserve to understand your opponent, wear their armor, know where it is the weakest. Hide your sharpest blade behind your softest cloak. Know where the ground is firm and where it is soft. You'll always be the victor. Every battle is an illusion. The strength of that illusion is up to you.
Let it sit with you. Novel erudition always makes me heady.
Percepts of Stendar. We are all welcome within Stendar's gracious embrace. His temple doors have never closed, for all in Tamriel deserve comfort and shelter. He welcomes the afflicted, the hopeless, the forgotten, yes, even the heretic. Through his priests he offers them counsel and assistance. His hallowed radiance heals those who upon their hearts and seek his benevolence. His mercy is boundless, and by the clarion call of his horn he can mend any wound, stay any disease, and soothe any broken soul. Stendar's faithful are blessed by great revelations in the healing arts. If you seek his wisdom, wield the gift of restoration magic in his name, follow his precepts, and make yourself vulnerable to his will. Never refuse aid you are capable of providing. Go among the infirm and wounded wherever you find them. Offer prayer to Stendar every day. Do not hoard wealth and indulge physically. Above all, never forget Stendar's command. Be kind and generous to the people of Tamriel. Protect the weak, heal the sick, and give to the needy. By Lady Eloise. Here in Windkeep, we are renowned for producing High Rock's finest light armor. So elegant, so tasteful, and yet so sturdy and staunch. Let me tell you just a little bit about how we do it. By we, of course, I mean the town's families of clothers, the raiments, the garments, and the habiliments. They do all the actual menial work, though under my noble and capable oversight, naturally. Light armor is made entirely of cloth, except for certain structural reinforcements crafted from bone, horn, or cartilage. Though the outer layer of the jerkin or breeches may be of ornamental silk or damask, be aware that underneath is a layer or layers of tough and durable fabric, such as cambric or burlap. These layers are often quilted or padded in order to aid in absorbing the force of a blow. Alright. I need something to drink. Of course it has. Every time you get to a new region, there's a whole bunch of new lore. Okay. Fury of King Ranzer. In the year 563, after the formation of the Second Wayrest dynasty, young King Emeric began the search for his bride. His first choice was Rael, daughter of King Ranzer of Shornhelm, but before the marriage contracts were wrought, Emeric instead married Maria, Redguard Princess of Sentinel. This stunned courtiers across the land and prompted bards to sing songs of Maria's bewitching beauty. However, strategists saw the move as straightening the trade between High Rock and Hammerfell. After Emeric's wedding in 566, High Rock readied itself for a golden age of commerce. 3 moons later, it was bracing for a bloody civil war. Rivenspire was known as the backwater of High Rock. Rancer was one of those surly hillmen, child of the north, known for his bitter temper and brutal rule. Emeric's slight was too much for him to bear. With an army of northern Tamriel's surliest mercenaries and a host of his own people, he descended from the mountains to cut a bloody swath to the Iliac Bay. Emeric was caught unprepared. It was only the spirited defense of his lion guard that saved Wayrest from being razed. Rancer had hoped for a swift victory. Instead, he was forced into a protracted siege. The long siege dragged on into the spring when the Daggerfell Covenant, a mutual defense pact sworn by all of Breton kingdoms at the conclusion of Reachman invasion, finally paid dividends, drawing Camlorn, Evermore, and Daggerfell into the fray. Some counseled letting Wayrest fall, but trade with the richest city in the region was too important to allow that. Attacked from the city and the surrounding countryside, Rancer's army stood firm. His mercenaries were well paid and prepared for bloodshed, but the Crimson Sails and battalions of the elite Red Guard warriors from across the bay turned the tide. Rancer's forces were routed, and Shornhelm was already ablaze when Rancer returned. This was the work of the orcs under the blood rule of Kurog. Between the Breton hammer and the Orcish anvil, Rancer's troops were utterly annihilated in the Battle of Mark Western Moor. Rancer hadn't counted on Emeric's canniness. and the king of Wayrest had sent emissaries into the Hrothgar Mountains with the pledge to return Osinium to the orcs if they attacked their hated enemy in Shornhelm. Rivenspire was despoiled, and some of orcs remembered how the Bretons of Shornhelm had led the assault that toppled Osinium some 135 years before. These debts were paid to Shornhelm in full. Rancer's War built the Daggerfall Covenant as it is today. Stormhaven, Rivenspire, and Hrothgar are all indelibly marked by these events. Oh. The Nereid's dilemma. Consider now the problems of the Nereid. Berefit of love, a Nereid is, without fail, always female, never male. The chances of romance seem slender in a race with but one gender. Given my proclivities for amorous activities, I'd rather be a woodland doe than Nereid without a beau. Now, wouldn't that just make them play together? Oh, look. Oh, never mind. Nothing to look at. Alright, let's get out of here. Oh, apparently there was someone in here that I needed to talk to. Hello.
On your way, stranger. I have no patience for small talk.
I'm here about the murders.
About time the vice cannons do their jobs. Aralin's body lies captive in the mortuary. I can't even see him, let alone bury him. Why all these ridiculous delays? Dumak, take this accursed town.
Why would you want to harm, Erlin?
Shadow Scales. Who else? He spoke out against the Argonians, and rightly so. He was targeted for having the courage to say what we all think about them. I'm no bigot, but if you ask me, the world would be a better place without those scaly fetchers.
Anytime says I'm no, but then followed with a but, they are. Alright, alright. Why do you think we get up there?